we can
Get the viewers on.
get the viewers. Tom Trbojevic!
Get ready for a Tommy Turbo Masterclass. Tameless Tuesday is here. And the boys are hard as a rock. Don't be a weak-gutted dog. Leave that for Jamin Salmon. Get ready for the best SuperCoach show on the planet. It's so good, it's better than Lego. You're now listening to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. Here's your host, Brandon Savage.
Hello guys, welcome to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host Brandon Savage, live from Pickle Studios here in Picklebet headquarters. I'm joined here by a full panel here today. Guys, get excited. We've got the 2021 champion, Tim Moody. How are you, Timmy?
Very good, mate. Fancy place here. Took a wee downstairs. They've got a marble door. Takes a very long time for it to close. It's a bit awkward that moment when you're in a rush, but yeah, very impressed by all the aesthetics of the place.
It's very nice here. And in the naughty corner today, the lowest scorer every week gets a spot on the couch. Jake is our stats man for the day. Coach, a kiss my behind. How are you, Jake?
Yeah, good, mate. It's a bit of a bad intro I cop there, but we'll take it. It's a nice, comfy couch. You guys are up on the chairs, but yeah, it's much of an upgrade from where you boys first started with you and Mikey. You know,
standing in their bedroom, just sort of looking at each other a bit awkwardly. You know, it's good.
Yeah, we've strived to come to this point for a long time, and we're finally here. And we only got to thank you guys and thank Pickle Studios here at the Picklebet Studio headquarters. Firstly, let's talk some SuperCoach. How'd you go, Timmy, on the weekend?
A little bit of a bounce back, not too shabby. The score 1144. I jumped back into 4,100th from about 7,000. So it's been a bit up and down, but yeah, making some waves, heading back in the right direction.
Very good, Jake. How'd you go? Obviously, the lowest scorer of the round.
Yeah, 1064. I didn't lose too many ranks actually, so that's
pump your rank up now.
All right, 1336. I think I am just outside the top K. Hopefully this week we can make some moves and get inside with Savs, who's probably going to be pushed for even higher.
I second top scored for the week with 1,117 into 202nd. I wasn't sure if that was going to be a moving score, but with not having Reece Walsh, that kind of helped me. But AE of Ben Murdoch-Masila on the Sunday and Tyrell Sloan absolutely stinking it up on the Sunday. It was not good. But guys, let's go into our overall group. Blue Redos, Tessa, overall 12th. She's first in our group at the moment, so she's in for the big prize.
Yeah, the girls.
For the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. But firstly, Picklebet. Let's go into that when we do best bets. Reece Walsh is our first hot topic of the night. 725,000 with 156 BE. Jake, I want to go to you first. Are you an owner, and what are you doing with Reece Walsh?
I am an owner, and I guess it's a tough hold. I think he's a good chance of scoring quite well this week. It's ump in Suncorp, Magic round, Manly with a few players out. The issue with him is he has a tough round after it.
I don't know what to do this week. Actually, I do. I'm not trading at all, guys. But
Perfect.
We will get to trades. Tom Trbojevic is our next one. 594,000, 84 break even with a draw of the Broncos, Sharks, Raiders. Does he play Origin?
Well, I don't think so. Unless in the next couple of games there's a real improvement in his unawkwardness. The running style hasn't kicked into that yet. So, yeah, look, I think that Tommy's the type of guy that'll, say, look, not right to go, maybe chime in around like the second or third game.
Jake, what are your thoughts on Tommy? A lot of people are selling, and I know Mikey's actually selling for Clint Gutherson. I think he's actually selling Walsh. He's selling one of them, but I don't know if it's the right move, especially at the value.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of what he was priced at the start of the season. You know he can get big scores.
Yeah, lost a bet. I'm a proud Penrith supporter for anyone who's unfamiliar with, what I am. Shout out to Tony Murphy for lending me this jersey. Great Tiger supporter, one of Cambridge Park's finest. Look, it was rough. I have to admit, though, I was slightly happy for the Tigers. I would have liked them to probably have beaten someone else.
Yeah.
But, look, Appy Coruscant, Naden, Tim Sheens, all ex-Penrith players. So, look, happy for those three particularly.
Yeah, I guess moving on to the Parramatta players. Parramatta on the weekend, Friday night, absolutely lit it up against Newcastle, who now have the bye, got to sit on that loss for 2 weeks. Jake, I want to go to you. Clint Gutherson's up there for most. For Reece Walsh, I assume, a lot of people are doing it for bye coverage, and here's what I have against it. Clint Gutherson, yes, he has bye coverage, but he has that round 14 off. So I think by going Walsh to Clint Gutherson in before round 13, you're missing out on a 13 and 14 player, and you're spending money. What are your thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, that's the reason I'm keeping Walsh. I was going to bring in Gutherson last week, and I thought, nah, we won't worry about it. And he goes and scores a hat-trick, which was painful. But it's a tough one. I think Mikey's the one doing Walsh to Gutherson, but I'm not for it.
I don't hate it. Like, a part of me thinks it's the move to make. Like, Walsh has got those 30s in him. You know what I mean? He's got plenty of them there. Gutho, I was just looking back at his scores just to see how he's gone. Like, except for Penrith, he scored 37 against Penrith, which, you know, forget that. Except for when Penrith are playing the Tigers, they're gone. He's got 70s, 80s that he's doing easy, and you'll take that at fullback this year when we've, been underwhelmed with Teddy, we've been underwhelmed with Turbo at times. Walsh has got those 30s. I think it's a pretty smart move. It's just, for me, at Magic Round, I couldn't do it, getting rid of Walsh.
Is it worth a trade knowing that
both should play?
They're pretty much the same price. They're going to play. The Broncos, they've got a pretty good matchup in round 13 as well. Like, it's a
trust your gut one, you know what I mean? I really think it comes down to what you individually think. My gut's telling me to probably make that trade, but my heart's just all about, wanting to see Reece Walsh light it up.
Jake, Dylan Brown had a blinder, 109, 679,000 with the 27 break even. Is he, or I want to say must, but is he someone you got to target?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess all these players that we're talking about, the para players, same with Gutherson, they play 13, 16, 19, so they play all those buys. On head-to-head, though, they're not going to be scoring rounds for a lot of head-to-head. So if you're not really focused on overall, they're not going to be all that important, I don't think. Because they're not going to play 14, which is going to be a head-to-head scoring round.
Yeah.
And then whatever the other one after the bye is, I think 20, I think it is, might be, or 17.
There's a lot of great relevant para players. The problem is, though, that we've been discussing is that, Parramatta, Newcastle and Manly, I think it is,
have round 14 bye.
Yeah, so that's very awkward if you've got a lot of them. I think you can probably only have 3 Parramatta players for round 13, and then you start to maybe bring a few more in for 15, 16 onwards.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, because I probably want to get a couple of the Newcastle boys as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to get, say, Lockie Miller or
Greggy
Marju, yeah, and plus having Garrick there at the price. So I think people that have sold him, I think he's a great purchase. He's a massive hold, and yeah, there's a lot of upside in the bloke, and he's a red hot goer. Slight smoky for Origin. If I was a Queenslander, I'd be picking him.
Is he a buy, Jake?
Yeah, on the drive in here with Timmy, I was saying, because I've sold him a couple of weeks ago, and I go, it feels ill bringing a player you sold 3 weeks ago back in, now that his role's kind of changed. I guess to you, how do you think this Parramatta rotation is going to work? I still think Hopwood's going to play big minutes. Matt will come on for Greg probably after 60, after 20, and plays the rest of the game. They only got 2 middle forwards on the bench, which I think is good for Hopgood. Davey and Cartwright will probably split each other. Hodgson and Hans will split each other. So, I mean, there's 5 forwards into 3 positions in middle forward. So, I think Hopgood, in terms of minutes, I think he's going to be playing up towards to 65, 70.
I would have assumed that Madison comes on and plays middle, and maybe when you have inside info through Ben Cartwright.
Well, no, I only kind of knew that that's how they were going to set up. That Davey somehow won a spot.
Yeah.
Come out of the blue. I mean, he was at the Dogs last week, and all of a sudden he's starting for Parramatta, which is kind of bizarre. But minutes-wise, it's all speculation. Brad Arthur's, he seems to rotate. It could be Madison starting next week and Hopgood off the bench. So a bit of unknown, but I think both Madison and Hopgood are in for big minutes, because Greg's not going to play big minutes. Makatoa's not going to play big minutes. Junior Barlow's probably, 50-ish minutes in 2 stints. So I think Hopgood can't go wrong. What is he, 530, 540k? Or actually, no, 570 I think he is.
Yeah,
570.
577.
He made quite a bit of money last week with his ton. So I think, it's not a bad option, but I'm actually going a different Parramatta for that. That you haven't wrote in here. You haven't thrown in here, but Sean Lane. I think he's about 80k discount on his starting price. Hasn't got any attacking stats yet. And I think they're not too far away.
Oh, they're coming. With Brown sort of last week, I think he's got a taste for it, and I think it's coming out this week particularly. I think I can see Laney going over for one guaranteed. I'm surprised I didn't think of that as a best bet, to be fair.
I actually like it as well, and I think like Jermaine Hopgood's still 35% owned. Go the pod route.
Yeah,
go
pod
Sean.
route,
Go Sean Lane. The one that has the upside. Like Jermaine Hopgood, he's going to get them scores when he has big minutes. With Lane, it could happen any week.
And there's no stress about Lane. Will he play Origin? Whereas if Hopgood, if he keeps playing well, he might just be banging the door down. So if you're umming and ahhing about Hopgood and you're not sure whether he's going to play Origin, maybe he's a guy that you bring in right before 13. Although he's not going to play the 14 for you.
Yeah.
That's the way I'd sort of look at it, but. Yeah, it's tough.
I guess that's why the Parramatta players are very popular this week rather than week 12 or 13 because it feels weird.
You want to milk a little bit more out of them beforehand.
Trading them in before they have the bye. I have to note, Gold Coast, Canberra, Rabbitohs and Cowboys without their Origin players is their draw. So I see why a lot of people are stacking up on their backs. And the last back here, Mitch Moses, 695, 148 on the weekend. Cleary's not kicking goals, so I think this could be an avenue to go, but it just feels very risky going without Cleary, especially after Penrith having 2 losses.
I'd really like to think this is a massive week for Cleary. I think taking that loss is a big one for him particularly. Does a lot of homework, does a lot of extras, and I'm sure he'll be on fire. The thing is, Mitch Moses, this time of year, he's been pretty good in the past, and I mean, he worked for me last year in the buys as well. I jumped a lot of ranks
but that
in
was
spot.
right on the buys.
Yeah, true. But, I mean, look, the only reason I could say maybe no is because it seems like Brown's getting a little bit more...
He's warming up.
He's getting a little bit more of the ball as well, so...
I think Brown had his best game on the weekend and only scored 109, so... For me, he's not someone I would need to rush. I held on to Cameron Munster last week, and I'm quite happy I did it, actually. Okay, that's it for hot topics for the week, but best bets for this week. I'm going to start off. Joseph Suaalii, anytime try scorer against a leaky Cowboys edge, $2.10. Timmy, what's your best bet?
Yeah, so I've got 2 teams on the bounce back. The Broncos 13+. I really like this one. Up against Manly, who the thing is, the forwards out there.
Yeah, Jake's out.
Yeah, and I just feel that when you look at the sides, and it's their home ground, after a loss like that, they'll want to make prove a point, and the other one's Penrith 13+. Warriors have been very, gritty for a lot of the year.
Yep.
They leaked a lot of points last week, and I think that might be the case again for them this week.
Jake, what is your best bet? And mind you, that one is $4.77 you'll get for that one.
Well, I can't go past me Sharkies. I've got to include them. I'll be up there watching. I'm not going with Tim, but I'll see him on the Saturday for sure. I'm going up. I'm watching all the games.
Maybe. I'll start with take it out.
We'll have a beer for sure. I've got Nico Hines, anytime try scorer. The Dolphins leak for halves quite often.
First half is terrible for them lately.
But even to halfbacks or 5'8", they've conceded quite a few tries in the last couple of weeks. I think that, and I think Sharks 13+. The way they're playing, the Dolphins have been a bit ordinary the last couple of weeks. So I think the Sharks.
I really like it because Hines is really doing everything he can to make that 6 jersey his.
And he hasn't got a line break try yet, so I feel like that's coming as well. Yeah. Very popular captain choice this week, I would assume. But remember, if you're going to have a punt, use Picklebet. Use the code TURBO when signing up. But the chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au and Picklebet. Need I say more? Let's move on to cheapies available this week. Jareem Buller, 200,000, Jake. Negative 38 break even, 38 and 60. He has St. George, Rabbitohs, Cowboys in the next 3. Do you like it? He's fullback only, so I don't know if I can take up a spot at fullback for mine.
That's the kicker, I think. If you've got a team that's, say, running a at the moment running one fullback and you're kind of rotating your centre wing fullbacks to fill that position, I think you can bring him in for that. I wouldn't be cutting, say, a Reece Walsh, or if you're getting rid of Turbo this week, down to him to kind of get that a lot of cash because he's bottom dollar.
It seems like that's the popular trade, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're going to spend that cash well in, I guess, your key positions to set yourself up, go for it. But, I mean, the Tigers, they did win last week, but I don't expect them to be winning too many games or scoring too many tries. And, well, I mean, he has quite a few runs. Round one, he had, I think, 21 runs. Last week it was a bit less because it was in poor conditions. But so his base is all right. But it's the attacking stats that you need from a fullback that you're probably not going to get from him.
He's basing about 25 over the 2 weeks with runs, Timmy. Tackle breaks in the first game, 10 points in tackle breaks. So, like the eye tests, it's there.
That's great.
But
apparently he can shoot some three-pointers as well, which might come in handy. Well, the thing I love about the kid is he's just fresh. He wants to really, make a name for himself. The beautiful thing about it is you are freeing up a lot of cash. I would consider Turbo, because if you're like not knowing who to go from, and if he's not gonna play Origin, he could be great buy coverage. But if he is playing Origin, I mean, if you can't fit two guys in, like, what are you gonna have? Gutho? Who else is really sort of putting the hand up? Walsh, are you gonna pay the price for him if you don't have him? So if you're prepared to just run one fullback for the buy coverage, or if you're just a head-to-head player, you want to free up, that cash to sort of strengthen your side elsewhere, it's not that bad.
before we move on to the next player, we are giving away this ball, not this ball exactly, one of my balls at home. All you have to do is show that you're watching this on the big screen at home and tag us, the SC Experience, on Instagram, and the best photo we'll give the ball to. So if you want the ball,
I thought you were just giving my ball away. I was going to be just offering your shirt up as a second prize too for a second there.
Yeah, so we're giving away that ball. So make sure to tag us in your Instagram stories watching on the big screen at home. Jared Croker, Jake, 336,000, -8 break even. It's really worked out for Croker. Savage named on the wing this week. He looks like a good buy.
Yeah, I mean, you would have liked to get him in last week or even the week before when they had the buy. I think now that he's a bit more expensive, he had 2 line breaks and a try and didn't crack 70, I don't think. So, I mean, he's a buy player. I don't expect him to make too much cash. Maybe to hit that maybe 500K if he's lucky, if he gets a few more tries. But I don't know. I think probably last week was the time to get him. I mean, if you need a downgrade, but then again, if you're getting rid of Alamotti or Taruva, they're almost the same price as him.
Yeah, I don't hate it completely. If you are getting rid of Alamotti or Taruva, neither of them are going to play round 13. So, also if you're looking at the thing with Croker and going, I'm not going to pick a bloke up whose job security's got issues, he's sort of now proven he's staying for a bit, you know what I mean? Unless he gets injured, I believe. So, I like it for that reason. He's cheap. He's kicking goals. You don't want to play him every week, but he's a handy option to have.
And for 13, hopefully get up to around 450, I hope.
Yep.
And maybe even above if he gets another few attacking stats. Guys, we're going to answer live Facebook questions and YouTube questions very shortly, so make sure to keep them pumping in. Next one, Carl Olawapu, Timmy, 200,000, 43 with a line break. But that was in 47 minutes, past the eye test, which is the main thing. Named on the bench again this week. So a lot of people are downgrading their Katoas to him to free up cash. What's your thoughts on this one?
It's awkward because I'm struggling for buy numbers. I've only probably got 9 at the moment. I've sort of got to do 2 trades, and then 3 to sort of really give myself the confidence that I've got enough numbers leading into the Origin period. If he was playing 13, I think it'd be a slam dunk. But the thing is, Katoa will play 13. So you might say, as Jake said to me, do you really need Katoa's 40? I probably do. The thing is, though, he looks great. If you're not going to get him now and you're going to wait till after that buy period of like round 13, he's going to have gone up a fair bit by then. So it's going to be an awkward purchase then. So maybe you do lock him in. He's going to cover a lot of other rounds in the Origin period. So, yeah, if you're willing to sacrifice that one extra buy number and you've got a few like yourself, it frees up cash, and yeah, I do like it for that reason.
Jake, Carl Olawapu, obviously we're all about the eye test here, but coming off the bench and taking up a crucial position at 5'8". That round 14, where a lot of people will have Dylan Brown, got to play Carl Oluwapu off the bench. That being said, Josh Reynolds is...
I reckon he'll have the spot by round 14. I think
so too.
I think they might even shove him in this week. I thought they were going to name him to start. Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of weeks before it's his.
Jake?
Yeah, same as Timmy. I think it's only a matter of time before Oluwapu's starting over Reynolds, and Reynolds will offer a bit more impact off the bench, I guess. The good thing is we get another look at him this week before he goes up in price. He's not quite on the bubble yet, so I mean, if you need the cash this week, I guess that's the play, but he could go out and get injured, and then you're kind of stuck with a 200k player.
Timmy, as a Tigers supporter, you're sad to see Tyrone Peachy go, but he goes into a red-hot attack for the Penrith Panthers on that left edge. 289,000, negative 11 break-even. Only started for the first time last week, but he came off the bench a few weeks prior. Geez, it looks tempting, doesn't it?
Yeah, don't mind the Peach. With Tago out for, it looks like another at least 5 weeks, he's going to get enough time to sort of make some money there too. I think it's a pretty solid option if you're not, again, coming down to round 13 doesn't cover that for you. But, would you go him or Croker? If you're not too worried about that, I'd prefer him over Croker. It's only a shorter, probably, term play, but he's playing in the Panther side.
Only available at second row at the moment, but I assume he'll get the jewel by round 12.
Yeah, round 12. There was a few things that a few players that NRL SuperCoach released saying about the locked ones that were going to get the jewels, and then the ones that are on the watch list. Obviously, Joey Manu's a watch because they need to play 3 games in that position. So you assume Joey Manu is going to play this week, so he'll get the jewel for round 12. But we do have to wait till round 12 to get those jewels. So until then, Manu, Peachy, all these players are not going to be able to be moved. So
I assume he's locked in, which is very good. Sam Walker wasn't named. I guess this can kick off the winners and losers of team lists. Joey Manu keeps 5'8", with Sam Walker still dropped. What's he done?
Sammy Walker?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a question for Cooper Cronk. I don't think he fits into Cooper Cronk's way of playing that position, but he's a great mind of the game, so we can't doubt him, and it's working at the moment for them. Sammy's a great footy player. He's very, very young, so look, I think he could go elsewhere if they keep him in the Reggies for too long. So it depends what their long-term plan is as well.
They look a lot better, but this combination of Sam Walker and Luke Keary, Luke Keary is playing amazingly at the moment, but this combination reminds me of James Maloney and Nathan Cleary, where they're just two dominant halves, and they kind of got in each other's ways. One would try and overcall another, and then it just wouldn't work. And I think we've seen Sam Walker's last game for the Roosters. Jake, Joey Manu at 5'8", obviously a very tempting captain option this week.
Yeah, very tempting. I mean, there's quite a few of them this week. We've got a potentially healthy Cleary. Hines is obviously the lock every time. But yeah, Joey Manu, I don't think he did anything last week, and he's still up on 70 or something like
63,
that.
yeah.
63 points. So you're throwing some attacking stats in there, which against the Cowboys, who look dreadful, he's definitely a potential.
I haven't considered him. Hey, I think I just have sort of had tunnel vision this week. For me, I'm sort of looking straight up at Walsh as a VC, just so I got the safety of a captain in Nico. But I was also looking at, potentially I could VC Nico and then look at the para game as well. Yeah. But I don't love captaining Dylan Brown, so I think the smart option from my side would be VC Walsh, captain Nico.
Very good. Another winner from the team list. He's got the Bazaz, Jacob Carraz. 650,000, 137 break even. I think I want to see how his injury goes, but he's someone that if you're not really sold on these round 13 options, I know Garrick's back at the wing at the moment. We'll talk about that in a second. But he's someone you could go as a little pod play before round 13, and hopefully the draw just opens up enough for them to really go crazy on that right edge, because they've been killing it on that right edge at the moment.
I think at his price, it would have been hard for a lot of serious super coaches to hold on to him for that 3 weeks. So he'll be a big pod, and because everyone is going to have that tunnel vision for round 13, a lot will probably let him go. I'd like to sort of hope he sort of coasts along, still goes okay, doesn't really light it up, and then we can pick him up for 14.
That would be very nice. Jacob Carraz.
Yes, I guess same the pizzazz. Same thing as Timmy and you guys are sort of saying that I potentially round 14. Hopefully he drops a bit of cash. He's still got that 8 in his rolling average for the next 2 games. So that's potentially 2, just like sort of Garrick's happened to Garrick with his. He's come down in price. Might be a perfect one to jump off a player of 13 straight into 14 and then Carraz, boom.
That's it. Franklin Pele is named on the bench, 200,000 with Carl Olawapu on the bench. I mean, Josh Reynolds has been going into 13 kind of as just a roamer, but Franklin Pele, for those who held on, I mean, is it good news?
Could be awkward. Could be like our AE nightmare. I was looking at, not too stressed about AEs this week, and I've got Howarth that I can use as a loop to captain late in the round. But yeah, having him back, it's good for the Dogs. You know, they need as many players as they can get back. It might not be as great for the Villi Army, my SuperCoach side. However, I'm just surprised they could break that arm. Hopefully, after that period, he's right to go. It seems like a short period to return from a broken arm. I don't know. When I did my arm roller skating when I was a bit younger, it felt like I was a bit tender for a while after that cast came off.
Look at you though, and look at Franklin. He's probably
big difference in the thickness. Yeah,
he's probably eaten your weight in food in the last since the recovery. Jake, I can't go to you. I've got to go to Timmy for this one. Horse bra.
The horse bra. Yeah, look, I'm all about the horse bra. Made a really fun meme of him. It's a bra with a. It's not a bra. It's a horse with a bra on its face, and all about the horse bra. Love his passion. Love just the bra part at the end of his name. Like, it's heaps good, like bra when he scores or does anything good. So, and he's a redhead, so good balance.
The horse emoji really helps too.
Yeah.
Really good. So he's 540,000 with a 3 break even. Jake, as a non-owner, Timmy, I assume you're getting him in this week, but
definitely.
Jake, as a non-owner, what are your thoughts on the horse?
In terms of all, I guess, the front row options, because, I mean, you probably don't want him in second row, that he's available in front row. I think he's, in terms of what price and what points you're getting, he's playing 7 in the last 3 games. We saw on the weekend he released that offload. He had something like 5 or 6 offloads. So, I don't know. I'm bringing him in as well. I think he's definitely at his price. He's probably the best of the pick. Jack DeBellin's another one who looked all right, but I think Jaden Sewer's back, Bird back to lock, so that could affect.
I can tell you to speak, but I need to chime in. I think it's probably time we tip our hat to Savs. He's really been on the ball this season. He seems to be bringing in the guy that everyone brings in next week, which is ideally what we want to do in SuperCoach, is try to have the foresight to who's about to go off.
Yep.
You picked him up at like 60k less than we're going to pick him up for. He scored amazing. He's been going really well outside of that when he's getting the minutes, and it looks like he's getting the minutes. And it's not just that bloke. I mean, you picked up AFB, who were just 3 weeks ago, which is now. I mean, that bloke scored like 80. Well, you'd know. You've got him in your side.
Oh yeah, a 79, 105, and then 79 or 85 on the weekend.
They're huge scores up in prop.
75 minutes.
Like, I've got Tino there, who like obviously I've got him just mainly for the mullet. But yeah, I mean, he's just putting out a lot of 40s, 50s, and with that one big score on him, but it's looking pretty good for you.
And that's the thing. I think with SuperCoach, you've got to have a look. I think a 2-game sample size is enough. And with Corey Horsburgh, or how Horsbra, it's not spelled like that. Yeah. It's Horsburgh.
It's bra.
It's Horsburgh.
It's bra.
Oh, I'm going to call him Corey Horsburgh.
You call him whatever
Corey
you want
Horsburgh. Anyway, Corey Horsburgh. He had 2 games of 70 minutes. He's coming off the bye, so I was thinking maybe he's a little underrated. 70 minutes, named at lock again, same bench. I was expecting them minutes
cheeky
again.
Purchase. You're just nailing these cheeky purchases that I would probably not look at.
And
so well done.
Don't get them after the 3rd game sample size. Get them after the 2nd. So if you like someone this week, they've only played 2. You want to wait a week? Don't do it, because just
classic guys up SuperCoach from you this year, Savage.
Oh, he might play Origin though, according to Mike.
Savs, before we move on, I guess we're pumping your tyres up quite a lot about your crystal ball.
Oh, you got a compliment for me or something?
No, nothing for you, Timmy. Is there anyone your crystal ball that you can give to us this week, Savs? You're potentially not making trades, but for someone who is making trades,
last week I did say at the very end of the show, I think the Sharks outside backs are really underrated purchases.
And they all went big.
They all went massive. And I didn't know that, like, I wish I thought about it more, because I got in Joey Manu, who wasn't playing around 13 anyway. These Sharks guys are about to go on a run, especially with Nico Hines about to try and solidify that origin position. Mulatalo is obviously the number one target, but he's the most expensive by far. Talakai, he has the most try assists this year with 10 try assists, which is crazy. But for me, the ceiling's not there with him anymore. I think he's going to have that big Morgan Harper game. I like Ramian or Mulatalo. I know you got in Katoa the other week, but I think Mulatalo's the one that, like, he scored 98 on the weekend and he's not even in the top 10 traded in. People have that tunnel vision. If you could go him this week, playing a Dolphins side who have leaked in their outside backs, I think that's the pod play of the week.
Yeah, really like that one.
All right, where are we now? Moving on to Ruben Garrick, winner of the team list, named back to wing. 84 break even, 545,000. Jake, hit it off.
Yeah, if you brought him in 2 or 3 weeks ago, you're now cheering.
Which half a SuperCoach did.
Yeah.
I mean, they rushed him. I think it was the Tigers matchup, wasn't it? It looked like dream on paper.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, and so a lot of people rushed in Garrick and Manu and boosted to be able to afford that. And it wasn't that great of a play now that we look back on it. And now that he's dropped the cash, it sucks. But he's probably a hold for the year. On the wing, it's much better for him. I didn't really like what I saw last week, particularly in the centres.
I think he will warm to it, but if they're going to swap him that often, it's not for me. Jake, Connolly Lemulu, 521,000, negative 22 break even, plays round 13, 2 tries with 122 on the weekend. Has centre wing duel. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's won that spot. The start of the year, he was coming off the bench, but for the last over a month or two, he's won that spot. And I guess the fact that we can get a base guy available at centre wing is golden. Timmy, the whole car trip here, Timmy was debating with himself, am I bringing him in, am I not, am I bringing him in? He's a good pickup, but the fact he's already made nearly 230, 240K, it's kind of a...
He was my second trade in this week for a bit. But yeah, look, he scored 120 with 2 tries. I don't see 2 tries happening again. He's got the try scoring potential, so I'm sure he'll pick up a few tries along the way. But that 120 score surely got to be his ceiling. When you look back over it, there's some pretty underwhelming-ish scores. You'll take him at the price, 58, 42, 40, 53, 58. 64. There's an 8 in there, which he didn't have many minutes in that one, and 76 to start the year, which is lovely. But the only reason I'm sort of looking at him is I do need those numbers for 13. I've got absolutely no one in the forwards that are covering 13 for me, so that's why I'm starting to look at those sort of options. At the same price, the only ones that I could afford instead of him would be Niokore or the other bloke with the mullet. Josh Curran. Yeah, very, very tough to go with those guys just because there's a lot coming off the bench. Connolly does look a little safer for minutes, but I just don't know if he's got that pizzazz that the Philly Army like.
Well, I think...
Just last point on him. If you're bringing him in to, I guess, make cash, he's probably going to lose most of that cash.
Before you want to move him on,
Before you want to move him on after round 13.
Probably 14, to be honest.
Yes, after 14, because they do play round 14 as well. So if you're fine with his scores though, pumping out 50-ish in base, then go for it.
All right, moving on, guys. That's the winners and losers. To celebrate Magic Round this weekend, we're going to recite our favourite Magic Round moments. I'm going to start with you, Jake. What's your favourite Magic Round moment?
Well, I'm going to my 3rd one this year. It'll be 3 in a row. The very first year I went, it was that crackdown on all the sin bins and send-offs of all the high contact ones. And it was the last game of the round. Herman SES has come in and absolutely clobbered. Pretty sure it was Brian Toto and got himself sent off. And he just got on the field. SES, he come off the bench and got sent. And in that same game, Nathan Cleary broke the record, SuperCoach record at that point. He scored 225, scored a hat trick, couple try assists, 1,000 goals. I think it won like 60-6 or something. So that one sticks with me. Obviously, we're talking about on the field. Obviously, yeah, we don't want to talk about off the field. There's a few shenanigans that go up there, as Timmy will, I'm sure, be a part of this weekend.
Timmy,
Guilty.
what's your favourite Magic Round memory?
My favourite Magic Round memory are going to be the ones that I make this weekend. As I said, I'm going to make a name for myself. Coming off the bench, impact for the Saturday and Sunday. But looking back for actual memories, Nico Hines, 2021. Ryan Pappenhausen goes down injured early with a HIA. He comes onto the field, Nico, at a pod ownership for myself and scores 182 points. Absolutely golden.
I like that one. I remember that. That was an absolute changing week for yourself. And I'm pretty sure you captained Cleary that week as well.
Everything was going right for me that year. I don't know about this year.
With Turbo, who turned up on the Thursday night as well. So that was a massive week. I think you scored 17.49. I remember that. But my favourite Magic Round moment has to be that Kalen Ponga step on Kieran Foran. I went for an NRL moment here, not a SuperCoach moment, just because when I think of Magic Round, I think of that step on Kieran Foran. I'm pretty sure it was one of the last games of the week as well. So the game was done and dusted and just put the afterburners on and oos.
Shame we don't get to see him play this weekend.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks with that extra side and one team having to miss that out. I guess it makes sense, though, that I think they came last year, or am I just making that up?
No, so I think they based it on the team having the least engagement for the week, and that was Newcastle. They had the lowest crowd each week, but like they played the Bulldogs one year. I'm pretty sure they played a pretty crap team last year as well. They played on like Friday night or something.
Who did get the spoon last year?
Dogs.
The Tigers.
Of course.
Your team. How do you not know that?
Yeah, massive fan of the Tigers.
And just back on the step, Savs loved it so much about the oos. He was actually rehearsing it before we were coming out.
Yeah, he asked me to do some shutter filming thing, which I'm not familiar with. The kids these days, with the technology they've got on their phones, with their TikToks and their Shazams, and I don't even know half of the stuff that they're on. But yeah, it was pretty gold.
It was a good step. It was more of a shimmy. But
something you could pull off on the dance floor as well as the football field, I guess.
Yeah, go suss out the SC Experience on Instagram to have a look. But we're answering some Facebook and YouTube questions. I'll go here. Gazaraki 123. He's in the jersey. Yes. So keeping up to your deal. Well done.
Yes. Thank you, Gazaraki.
Dodgy Jake on YouTube, he says, sell Walsh and pick him up for cheap for round 13 after Manly Penrith Storm.
Don't hate that either. I think, that's
I was asking
pretty
Jake.
Smart. That's like smart SuperCoach. Yep, go on.
It's the same thing. I get. One of my mates has done the same sort of thing. He signed him last week and is assuming he's not picked for Origin. I guess the only reason he will be picked for Origin if Ponga's no good to go. And even then, they still might go with someone else. But I mean, not bad. He's going to leak some cash, especially the next couple games. So you're not a bad player at all. Just trade using, I guess. So if you're fine with using trades.
We've got Muzz245. Love seeing the boys in HD. Head over to Picklebear. Go to their socials. They do some great stuff over there. So head over to there. They produce it all from here, so it's great. Have you got anything, Jake?
Clements Mark Clements. I remember him from before. He
Cram
reverses his name,
Cram
so it's
Stelnick.
confusing. Yeah, that's
I remember.
it. He's gone hold Lomax or sell. I would be selling Lomax.
Yeah, heard him.
Without a doubt. Another one, Tohu Harris. Is he potentially a buy? He's been named this week. I thought he would have been out for ages with that knee. The bloke couldn't walk a week ago. Now he's being named for the Warriors.
He's haunted super coaches, especially around the bye period, over the last couple of years. For me, I feel like if I want to get him, it's probably going to be right on 13, just to make sure the bloke is fit and ready to go. He's just played by injuries. He's such a great super coach option when he is fit and available, though.
Yeah, I think for mine, he's already been injured 3 times this year, and it's only round 10. I think I need to wait till round 13, and he needs some runs in the legs before I consider picking him up, but he's very cheap.
Way better option than Connolly Lemu. So.
What if you're someone that still has Tohu Harris? Are you just holding him at the moment, seeing how he goes?
Yeah.
Obviously not going to be much of
100%.
a trade out. Last week you would have probably traded him out.
I think you have to. You got anything else there, Jake?
Matt Partridge, he mentioned, do we jump back on Hopgood? We've kind of talked about him a bit. He's worried about the bench. I think the bench actually is good for Hopgood. We sort of mentioned that they've kind of only got 2 middle forwards on the bench in Maddo and Makatoa. So, yeah, if you want to jump back on a player you've sold, I don't want to do it. I prefer to go the pod route in someone else. But yeah,
that's his ego getting in the way.
Mustard Custard on YouTube says, Nas or JDB, Timmy?
Ooh. probably Jack DeBellin just because of the bye coverage. If you're playing overall, I don't mind it. He's not really a slam dunk. Nas is more exciting, to have that big unit in your side. I do like him as an option, but it depends whether you're playing overall or head-to-head.
I like it. Jake, you like Jack DeBellin, don't you?
Well, not really.
Not really.
I'd rather Corey Horsburgh over him. I think with the fact that Bird's back in the middle rotation, he'll play 80 minutes. I don't think DeBellin's going to be playing 80 minutes again.
Yeah, just don't know that Jack DeBellin fits into the culture at the Villiers Army. Just don't think I could fit him into the team.
But I guess back on Nas, he scored 80 the week he came back from injury, and he looked real good. He was playing a bit on the edge as well. They kind of, him and Liero would rotate throughout the game, and he looked quite damaging. But the fact he doesn't play 13, maybe lean the other way.
With Nas coming off a big score, that's because Eliesa Katoa went down with a HIA, only played a few minutes. But that's a question I want to ask. Eliesa Katoa, did you hold or did you sell?
I held. I was planning to sell just because I thought he wasn't going to play this week. I thought that 11 days sat on it and he was having to miss 2. So it's a bit hard now. I really like him. As we were talking about throughout the week, he's been okay without doing a great deal. I mean, he's got that line break, he's got that in his game. But I just feel like there's a lot more upside, especially in the Melbourne side. Outside Hughes, I just feel like he could try for a few tries and he'd be such an annoying thing to sell once he starts doing that. So I think I'm going to hold.
I think with him, I'll definitely be looking at getting him in after round 14 because just that upside is so good. And Eliesa Katoa, Melbourne, they're looking good and they can put scores on teams week to week.
Just on Katoa, he's not confirmed to play this week.
It.
They're going to monitor his because he had a pretty bad concussion before the bye, so it's still within the 11 days. So they'll get an exemption for him to play. But if he's still a bit how you're going, they probably sit him. It's better to be safer than if he goes out and gets another head knock.
He's late in the round, so anyone that you're thinking about trading him to probably plays before he runs out. So that's a bit awkward.
Him to a Parramatta player is going to be fine. Hopgood, one of them guys.
Yeah, of
which
course.
I'm sure is what a lot of people are probably doing.
Or anyway. Jack DeBellin even.
Do you have anything else on Facebook?
Welch and Nass or the Big Red. I think Big Red's probably the choice, probably the best front
Talk
rower
of the town at the
that
moment.
price. Worsborough. And Manu's still at 6, worth a look. I think Manu at 6 is worth a look over him playing centre for sure. His ownership's been rising for the last couple of weeks. I think definitely get on him. And the thing is, he's probably going to get that duel. You'll be able to flip him to 5'8" and bring in a centre wing.
That's going to be so nice.
It will be nice. He will cover 5'8" for round 6 as well. So if you have, you probably have Dylan Brown as well, but so I should be fine with that. And
he's playing a very leaky Cowboys this week, which puts us into the captain segment. Bold prediction segment is scrapped. We're just not doing that anymore. I feel like that was such a far-fetched segment that we never prepared for.
Yeah, most of mine was sort of like the referee's going to, get a HIA or one of the coaches is going to get dacked in the sheds. Like they weren't really SuperCoach relevant to start with, so they were fun.
Can we get one for Magic Round this week, even though we've just scrubbed it?
The thing I'm worried about is will I end up on the field after a few beers? And I'm just really hoping one of my good mates will look after me and, tell me don't do that. So no bold predictions for myself. I don't want to put the pressure on myself too or not two things.
Well, I'll start off the captain segment. Teddy, 17% owned, playing the Cowboys. He is my captain this week. I'm a bit worried about Manu stunting his attacking ability, but I like Teddy as a captain choice. Hines is my VC. That could switch late because I think we've just learnt over the weekend how valuable it is just to chuck the straight C on.
You got to back yourself with this one. I feel like Teddy's a little awkward. I brought him in last week. You brought him in 2 weeks ago. The 75 2 weeks ago was okay. I just feel like there's big scores out there. If you think he's the guy, go for it because you're red hot.
He's the guy.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
He's the guy. So everyone, get on it. This is your.
This is my crystal ball moment.
Okay, cool. I should probably do that too then. But no, I'm going to stick with what I said before in the show. I'm going to VC Walsh. I've held him to this moment for this game, willing to cop the price losses. Feel like it's going to be a big one for the bloke. And also just play a safety and landing on Nico as my captain if that doesn't work out as a VC loop for Walsh.
Jake, where are you going this week?
Well, I've been burnt by VCs in the past, so I kind of just want to go for the captaincy option. I'm going to have some ordinary AEs in potentially Sonny Luke and Ben Murdoch-Masila is relegated to the bench. So Nico Hines is the obvious one. I do like Sav's crystal ball over there going to Tedesco. So I don't know. I mean, I'll be up in Magic round, so the captaincy could end up on anyone.
Oh, that's exactly the same for me too.
But I
Things
think
can get a bit weird up
I
there.
think Nico Hines is obviously the safest one. Another one, if we get word that Nathan Cleary's going to goal kick again,
Yeah.
he could be in for a big one against the Warriors as well. And he could be he's going to be a pod captain potentially.
That's the big one, Nathan Cleary. Just before we end things, Nathan Cleary not goal kicking. Are you worried at all?
Is that 100% confirmed? Have you heard something, or did you just assume?
No.
No, just the last couple of
The last
weeks.
couple of weeks, yeah. Well, I'm hoping his groin's a bit better. Like, I got the vibe it was only going to happen for 1 week. It's happened for 2. It does take, a good 20 points off his score.
It really does. And it
Yeah.
takes that massive ceiling off him.
Especially when you're looking at, if Nico in that same position, you can't captain or vice captain both of them because they're both playing in halfback for SuperCoach and obviously NRL. But yeah, Nico's got the kicking and he's just like on fire right now. So I just couldn't fade against Nico.
All right. I think that's it. Guys, thanks for tuning in to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. Thank you to Picklebet Studios. We're going to have our same game multi up later in the week. What's that? Suoli'i anytime, Broncos 13+,
Panthers.
Penrith 13+, Hines anytime, and
The Sharks 13.
the Sharks 13+. That'll be
Juicy.
That will be a doozy. The odds will be pretty good for that, I assume. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Picklebet Studios, and good luck with your SuperCoach this week.